Welcome to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Gentleman, podcast that goes into the early life of yours truly. And now, this is my father, appearing on the Andrew House Show, May 23rd, 1995. Ladies and gentlemen, America's top newsman, the Doctor of Republic, Andrew House. Hello everybody, I'm here with Small Business Administrator and Head of Entrepreneurial Affairs Agency, James Ryan Hendrick. Jim, how are you? Better than I deserve. Now, normally I would do the monologue at the beginning of the first hour, but we have a guest who's flown in all the way from Washington, D.C. Jim, is it true that you're currently on a leave of absence? I am. Can you state why? I have some personal family matters to deal with. Not to mention, I've been going round and round with the Clinton administration. Please explain. I have introduced some area of legislation for sustainability for small business that is wildly popular in the U.S. House, but maybe a little less so than the Senate. Now, there's talk that if Congress wants to put it in welfare reform, and that President Clinton may veto it if that happens. If Bill Clinton vetoes welfare reform again, which he did earlier this month, he's signing his death warrant for a lot of people in the 96 elections. You watch. I mean, let's be honest. I believe welfare reform should be part of giving hand-ups to people. I mean, yes, getting the single mothers back to work. I think that's a wonderful idea. But how about helping those that are poor that want to start businesses? I don't think Clinton's going to address that. I don't think he can, will, or ever has. Now, here's my question, Jim. Do you feel like in some ways that you're being silenced by the administration? Maybe a little less so. I've had some scrapes, no doubt, with the Small Business Administrator. But that's here and there. Leave of absence is in order. I just found out yesterday that my mother-in-law is going to be requiring some surgery. So that's part of the reason behind my leave of absence, to be there as a support for my wife and as a support for my kids. Now, your son, JR, he went to Fort Worth for a pro-life rally. What are your feelings about that? My feelings about what my boy does is irrelevant. We may disagree politically on a few issues, but he's a good kid. He's learning, but he still has a lot to learn. A lot of things that he's going to have to see and find out for himself. And that's the problem. He's a good man. He has a lot going for him, but he needs help. When do you think was your last statement given to the press? I believe it was May 3rd. I don't know. I've finally gotten tired of some of the bullets I received from the press. Of course, I can eventually go back and take those. But here's the thing. I'm being maligned by some of my competitors in the Clinton administration who would silence me for what I think and see is the will of the American people. Americans have suffered too much from economic setbacks without getting any tax breaks or support for small business. And once I get back from my leave of absence, beginning around the beginning of the second week in June, beginning around the second week in June, I intend to hold Congress and the President accountable, hold their feet to the fire. There's no doubt. There are some allegations that you're letting your business interests get in the way. That's something that Bill Clinton would say, or one of his cohorts would say. What he keeps forgetting is that I sold my business. And that last business venture this spring was not generally my idea. Was not something that I would have accepted. I mean, let's face it, there is no way I would have accepted it. Alright? Now, listen. Here's the thing you need to understand. Bill Clinton was defeated in a part in last November because the American people got sick of Democrats bottlenecking important legislation in the House. And my thinking is Bill Clinton ain't going to do any better this year either. You look at the case of the point the past couple of years in his presidency. Important legislation. We still don't have full access to curriculum yet. No. Now, there is no way, and I gotta say this, I have a right to hold this administration accountable for what it does. Because, let's face it, the American people are sick of it. The days of George Mitchell, Tom Foley, Ted Kennedy, and Al Gore running the show in Congress are over. The American people are fed up. I see it. I arrived in Fort Worth at 8 o'clock this morning, and I went into my oil offices. I see that some corporations, their stocks seriously went down today. But rather, I feel like that Bill Clinton wants to benefit Wall Street more than he does Main Street. He says that he wants to do tax cuts for small business. I haven't seen it. That's not happening. Does that mean that you might run for president against him? Let me categorize and say this. If I didn't have a young family, granted, two of my boys are grown, but if I didn't have one in college, I might run. But then again, there's one more thing, one more caliber to think about. I have a wife. And yeah, she's a good lady to be good in big mansions and palaces in D.C. But I can tell her heart desires to be back on that ranch. Besides, Andy, you know me. I got oil in the veins. There's no way to bring that back. So, I'm hoping you can understand that and realize the importance of keeping business alive. Yeah, I may have sold some deals in Nation Financials. They seem to be still pretty prosperous, by the way, regardless of what I've done. But it's time to stop helping Wall Street. and start helping Main Street for a dang change. This country has suffered enough. You could have seen it the past 5 years. The singers, the songwriters, the poets, the regular people are mad at the politicians. On both sides of the aisle, I suppose. But I'm here as a conservative to say it's not too late. Thank you, Jim, for coming on the air. We'll be back. I want to talk to you about the state of the U.S. for small business and the American worker. We'll be back in a minute. Remember, the Democratic Party is not the working people's party anymore. God bless you. Be right back. Hope you enjoy listening to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Gentleman. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and become a part of the adventure. This is James Hendrick Power Network saying until next time, take care. And remember, the rest of the story gets interesting from here. Disclaimer. The views and opinions of the people on this show, be it fictional, are not the views of the management or staff of the James Hendrick Empowerment Network.